If we don't have free speech, then we just don't have a free country. It's as simple as that. If this most fundamental right is allowed to perish, then the rest of our rights and liberties will topple, just like dominoes, one by one. They'll go down. That's why today I'm announcing my plan to shatter the left-wing censorship regime and to reclaim the right to free speech for all Americans. And reclaim is a very important word in this case because they've taken it away. In recent weeks, bombshell reports have confirmed that a sinister group of deep state bureaucrats, Silicon Valley tyrants, left-wing activists, and depraved corporate news media have been conspiring to manipulate and silence the American people. They have collaborated to suppress vital information on everything from elections to public health. The censorship cartel must be dismantled and destroyed, and it must happen immediately. And here's my plan. First, within hours of my inauguration, I will sign an executive order banning any federal department or agency from colluding with any organization, business, or person to censor, limit, categorize, or impede the lawful speech of American citizens.
Without the Second Amendment, no, not the Second Amendment, without the First Amendment, without the right to free speech, there is no America. America was built off of its freedoms. This is what makes this country the promised land. There are people that have ran from China, that have ran from other communist countries to come here and find a better life. But you know who takes this place for granted the most? The people that have been born here that don't really understand what type of privileges we have under this Constitution. Our Constitution have been put in great peril because of very powerful corporations such as Facebook, Instagram, the old Twitter. Companies that if you said something on your platform about the jab that we did not like, that goes against our agenda, you're going to be removed. You're going to be demonetized. We're going to stop your message from being sent all over the place. That what was going on. Okay, I understand there are some things that you don't like that people say on the internet, right? That's why you're giving the power to mute them, block them, disagree with them, move on. Once you stop people from talking and giving their rightful opinions to talk, whether you like it or not, you are degrading the First Amendment. You are degrading the right to free speech. The reason why these companies did not want us to talk how we was talking because we was telling the truth. When you tell the truth to a bunch of zealots, bureaucrats that want to control you and stop you from talking, stop you from giving the truth, stop you from raising the stock price of Moderna, Pfizer, things like that, you're in the way. Under the Constitution, when a government becomes too tyrannical, we have the right to overthrow them. You understand? So before it gets to that extreme, we have a voting process, an election to elect people that have our best interests at heart. These mandates are for all American people that pay taxes, go to work. They want to build platforms talking about whatever they want to talk about. These avenues to create maybe just another way to get money, another what's the word, man? Another income, excess income. All right, let me do this so I could get some income. Let me do this so I could find some like-minded individuals that are like me, and we could build a community and talk about this thing and get our needs met. Without free speech, you don't have that. Without your voice, you don't have that. All you are is a zombie just working, going home. That's it. Okay? You can't say certain things. You can't live your life. You can't disagree with things. Life is about debate, agreeing, disagreeing. I don't like what you said. You don't like what I said. Let's agree to disagree. Okay? That's a beautiful thing that you should never take for granted. And a lot of people have been taking it for granted, but now we have awoken up to the bullshit.
I will then ban federal money from being used to label domestic speech as mis or disinformation. And I will begin the process of identifying and firing every federal bureaucrat who has engaged in domestic censorship, directly or indirectly, whether they are the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Health, Human Services, the FBI, the DOJ, no matter who they are. Second, I will order the Department of Justice to investigate all parties involved in the new online censorship regime, which is absolutely destructive and terrible, and to aggressively prosecute any and all crimes identified. These include possible violations of federal civil rights law, campaign finance laws, federal election law, securities law, and antitrust laws, the Hatch Act, and a host of other potential criminal, civil, regulatory, and constitutional offenses. To assist in these efforts, I am urging House Republicans to immediately send preservation letters, and we have to do this right now, to the Biden administration, the Biden campaign, and every Silicon Valley tech giant, ordering them not to destroy evidence of censorship. Third, upon my inauguration as president, I will ask Congress to send a bill to my desk revising Section 230 to get big online platforms out of censorship business. From now on, digital platforms should only qualify for immunity protection under Section 230.
I want to shout out to all the so-called right-wingers, which are really truth tellers. I want to shout out to Hassan Campbell. His platform has been severely put under censorship, have been massively, the spread of his message have been massively strained due to censorship the censorship of these corporations, right? So to all those that are speaking the truth on your platforms, the Candace Owens, the Hassan Campbells, the Charlie Kirks, the Joe Rogans, everybody, man, the PBDs, the everybody who fought long and hard for this thing to happen, for this mandate to finally come into fruition. Everybody's about to get blessed with immunity to talk how they want to talk. If there is an issue, you can just mute them, unsubscribe, block them, report them through your channels of reporting on YouTube, okay? This is one of the most important mandates that's going to be put into place from now and generations to come. This needs to be a constitutional amendment. I don't know if he's gonna make it into something that powerful, but we're gonna see. Okay, that's gonna be with the help of Supreme Court justices. That's gonna be with the help of the House of Representatives, the Senate. We're gonna all need your help. Okay, this has to get passed. It must get passed. YouTube, Google, these left-wing platforms that are the architects and the enforcers of the the censorship of free speech. Even if they was egged on by the Biden administration, it's over now. Them times is done. The game is done. Okay? Now he also said, please do not remove evidence of censorship. The reason why he doesn't want you to remove the evidence because the rightful parties must be prosecuted. They must be prosecuted. They can't go into hiding. It's over. Okay? Just whatever you did, just take your beating, bro. It's over. We're coming for you. It's done. What you was doing was completely against the Constitution, and it must be prosecuted. I understand that the media says, yo, he's gonna be going after his political enemies. But they're not gonna tell you is that the people that are his so-called political enemies were the ones censoring you from talking. They were all censoring you from saying things that was going against their agenda. The doomsday clock for totalitarianism and communism in the United States has begun.
If they meet high standards of neutrality, transparency, fairness, and non-discrimination, we should require these platforms to increase their efforts to take down unlawful content such as child exploitation and promoting terrorism, while dramatically curtailing their power to arbitrarily restrict lawful speech. Fourth, we need to break up the entire toxic censorship industry that has arisen under the false guise of tackling so-called mis- and disinformation. The federal government should immediately stop funding all nonprofits and academic programs that support this authoritarian project. If any U.S. university is discovered to have engaged in censorship activities or election interferences in the past, such as flagging social media content for removal of blacklisting, those universities should lose federal research dollars and federal student loan support for a period of 5 years and maybe more.
In order to enforce a mandate, which I understand with Trump, you have to enforce your policies and your mandates with, you got to attack their pockets. You got to attack their money. You got to attack their resources. You got to attack their opportunities. So if they ever try to find a loophole or try to do something that goes against this mandate, there is severe consequences. And when there's severe consequences, that brings less of a possibility for these companies, for these schools to go ahead and start the authoritarianism. I can't even say that word properly. That has to stop. It's gotta go. So no more federal loans. People ain't gonna come to your school. A lot of people gotta use federal loans to come to your schools, okay? They wanna come to your school. A lot of them ain't gonna have $44,000 a year or $10,000, $20,000 a year to go to your school without federal loans. Guess what? If your school partakes in this type of activities, and no more federal loans for 5 or more years minimum. Oh, you don't like it? Guess what? This is the executive branch. This is the president of the United States. You gotta fall in line. Don't worry, it's for the betterment of the country. So I understand a lot of people are sensitive about what's going on. He still says that there is lawful speech that will always be passed through. If you talking about terrorism and trying to incite some sort of violence, that will not be tolerated. Okay? All those media companies such as MSNBC, the CNNs, the ABCs, The View, and all these people that keep putting out false information to feed a narrative, there is consequences for that. Watch how the dynamic of the landscape, watch how the landscape of media changes after these get passed. Watch how much truth all these news companies start speaking. Watch how much propaganda is lessened when these mandates and policies get put to pass. It has to happen. We have no choice. They pushed us too far. It's time to take the country back.
We should also enact new laws laying out clear criminal penalties for federal bureaucrats who partner with private entities to do an end run around the Constitution and deprive Americans of their First, Fourth, and Fifth Amendment rights. In other words, deprive them of their vote. And once you lose the
I have to bring that back. Is he going to take away people's votes? I don't really understand this part.
research dollars and federal student loan support for a period of 5 years and maybe more. We should also enact new laws laying out clear criminal penalties for federal bureaucrats who partner with private entities to do an end run around the Constitution and deprive Americans of their First, Fourth, and Fifth Amendment rights. In other words, deprive them of their vote.
Okay, so with the censorship and the federal bureaucracies that engage in election interference and all that stuff, you're kind of depriving the people of an informed vote, right? So if you're stopping people from voting in any sort of way, right? You blocking information, you only putting out the propaganda that serves you, the federal bureaucrat, right? There is severe penalties coming for that. You're stopping the people under the rightful Constitution of America. You are invading and violating certain amendments. He just said the First, the Fourth, and the Fifth. Big dog. It's over.
And once you lose those elections, and once you lose your borders like we have, you no longer have a country. Furthermore, to confront the problems of major platforms being infiltrated by legions of former deep staters and intelligence officials, there should be a 7-year calling off period before any employee of the FBI, CIA, NSA, DNI, DHS, or DOD is allowed to take a job at a company possessing vast quantities of U.S. user data. Fifth, the time has finally come for Congress to pass a digital Bill of Rights. This should include a right to digital due process. In other words, government officials should need a court order to take down online content, not send information requests such as the FBI was sending to Twitter. Furthermore, when users of big online platforms have their content or accounts removed, throttled, shadow banned, or otherwise restricted, no matter what name they use, they should have the right to be informed that it's happening, the right to a specific explanation of the reason why, and the right to a timely appeal. In addition, all users over the age of 18 should have the right to opt out of content moderation and curation entirely and receive an unmanipulated stream of information if they so choose. The fight for free speech is a matter of victory or death for America and for the survival of Western civilization itself. When I am president, this whole rotten system of censorship and information control will be ripped out of the system at large. There won't be anything left. By restoring free speech, we'll begin to reclaim our democracy and save our nation. Thank you, and God bless America.